this video, we'll overview managing jobs and work orders with Service CEO. There are many ways to begin a job and many ways to schedule a job. First, let's overview a couple of brief tips from the dispatch board. We want to point out these three lists down at the bottom. The first is our unassigned work orders list. If, for example, this job here for the Anderson family had not yet been scheduled to an employee, it would be sitting down here in the unassigned work orders list. If this is red, it means that you have a work order that is scheduled for today. The unassigned work order queue only shows things that are scheduled for the day you're looking at on the dispatch board. This means that it's been scheduled but hasn't been assigned to one of your employees yet. We'll simply drag this up onto the dispatch board to schedule it here. The next list down is unscheduled work orders. These work orders could be unscheduled for a variety of reasons. However, the common thread here is going to be that this work order has been created, but it does not have a start date yet. This means that the work order is sitting in here. You can see the sub status, the customer's name, the duration of this work order, the service location, and the summary. Clicking this summaries link will open the work order in view mode. You can also click this blue bar here to see more information on the work order, such as the customer's information, the customer's contact information down here, as well as information on the service location as well. To open the work order, you click View Work Order. You also have the ability to print or email a copy of the work order or invoice directly from here by using these links off on the right. To schedule an unscheduled work order, we simply drag the job up, drop it onto the calendar. Note that as we move a bar across the calendar, the green text above the bar changes. This is to indicate exactly what time we've dragged this job to right now. This is a white shell now. We have a key here that says, what do the colors and icons mean? A white shell means that there's no duration. Keep in mind you can change these three colors through the jobs and work orders settings in the settings menu. However, when we have no duration, it's usually helpful to block off an appropriate amount of time. We do this by hovering the mouse over the right side of this, holding down, and simply dragging out as long as we'd like to schedule this work order for. Finally, we have an earlier opening request queue. This is a list of work orders that have not been completed that the customer has requested an earlier opening. So for example, if an appointment is scheduled 2 weeks out from now, but the customer asks that you come out if you have any cancellations or any openings, we can check off the earlier opening request checkbox. We'll show you where that is in just a minute. This will sit down here in this list. So if, for example, all Sandy has on her calendar today is this job for the Anderson family, we may be able to fit something else down here into her calendar. If you do want to schedule something, you can always get your customer's contact information first, make the phone call, and if they are able to be there for this work to be done today, we can simply drag this right up onto the dispatch board and schedule it. Now let's go through the process of entering in a new work order. There are many ways to do this. The first way that we'll show you is if you already know what time it's going to happen and who you want to assign to it. This is by simply clicking a cell here in the dispatch board. By clicking here, it's going to start a job at 1 o'clock, assigned to Jeff. So I'll click here and it asks me, A, to confirm that I want to schedule it at 1 o'clock on this date, and B, whether it's a job or a sales call. If you'd like to schedule a sales call as part of the estimate process, you can absolutely do so. Make sure you check out the on-site sales call training video for more information on that. For this example, we'll call it a job. We hit OK here, and it brings us to the customer screen. We can either add in a new customer or select a customer that we already have on file. You can search by the name, phone number, as well as the default service location and service contact here. We'll choose Andy Pettit for this example. Once you've selected the customer, it brings you over to your job wizard. There are 4 tabs here: job information, work order, invoice, and payments. But for scheduling, you only need to work with the first 2 tabs here. On the first tab, job information, only necessary field is a summary. This is a brief description of the work you're going out there to do. Business unit, you shouldn't have to update if you're using business unit functionality here, although the substatus typically is a very useful thing to use to track where this job is at in its life cycle, as well as to plan out any next steps. So if, for example, I need to make a confirmation call to Andy Pettit, I'll select that it needs a confirmation call, and I'll be sure to set up a work order list to show me my confirmation calls that I need. The marketing campaign may have been filled out on the customer record. However, if you forgot or if it wasn't, you can always select a marketing campaign here. Note that these custom fields are just here as display to remind you that you can build custom fields if you'd like. So keep in mind you can build as many custom fields as you like here. If the job will have more than one work order, I can fill this out here, and it will allow me to have one job with multiple work orders that still culminate in one invoice. Also, if the job is going to recur, say every other week or every other month or the first Thursday of May every year, we can do so down below. We'll demonstrate those in just a bit. As you scroll down, there are private notes that you can fill out here. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and hit next. Hitting next in previous is a great way to navigate around this system because it will save the page that you're on and bring you to the next place in the workflow. So from here, when I hit next, it saves my job itself, and now it brings me to the work order. Note that you can see here I'm on work order 455-1. This means that the job that we're on is job number 455, and that this is the first work order that's part of that job. Most of your information has already been filled out from here. We have our summary, we have our customer, and our substatus. The business unit, location, and contact have all been filled out. However, we do want to block off a duration. Let's say that this is going to be a 3-hour carpet clean. We can simply type 3 in here, click out to update. If you want to go incremental, 3.5 hours, you would have to do 3:30. 3.5 will not work. The arrival window is how long outside of 1 o'clock you may be there. So if, for example, you keep it at 1 o'clock, you're saying the customer will be there at some point between 12 and 2. It's the arrival window on either side of the start time. And then here is where your earlier opening request checkbox is that we discussed earlier. Next, down here, we've got our charges. We can add in our products, our services, or our kits. These are covered in more depth in the product services training video. However, for this example, we'll go ahead and put in our carpet cleaning right here. Our hourly rate is $30. If I wanted to put 1 hour on, I would simply click this green plus symbol. However, since I want to charge for 3.5 hours, I'm going to hit this, our add and edit button. This lets me make one-time changes to things like the quantity for this charge. It allows me to make things taxable if I have not made them taxable, or vice versa. Allows me to change the description, and it also allows me to put a discount on here for this customer. So if I wanted to give this customer a 5% discount, I would do so here. We'll hit OK to get this updated. You can see with the discount, this totals to $99.75. Finally, down below, Jeff has already been assigned because of the way we scheduled this from the dispatch board. I could add other employee assignments here as well. If you were to have a scenario where 2 employees would be splitting the length of a job, so for example, Jeff and Oscar are both on the job, but Jeff is going to leave at 2:30 and Oscar is going to stay from 2:30 to 4:30, I can edit their hours here. So I could actually come in here and say that Jeff is only here from 1 to 2:30, but Oscar will be here from 2:30 to 4:30. This has now split these 3.5 hours across Jeff and Oscar. We'll see what this does on the dispatch board in just a second. Finally, we have notes. As we discussed in the customer contact and location record keeping video, you could have already put notes here on the customer page that would show on every work order you do for them, or notes on the service location that would show on every work order you do at this service location. You can also put in one-time notes here on the work order notes that are specific to this one work order. These will print on the work order as well as the route sheets for your employees. Finally, you can store private notes here if you'd like to. To finish this, we'll simply hit save. This has now created my work order from 1 to 4:30 on the first, split between Jeff and Oscar. So if we come back to the dispatch board here, you can see that this work order here, work order 555-1, is assigned to both Jeff and Oscar on the dispatch board.